Hello everyone, and welcome to the 12th day of planning Christmas. This means you get 12 drummers drumming and a fairly fragile link to planning law. But as we all know, fragile things can also be beautiful. So let's get started. I know what you're thinking. How on earth can we get from a pre-electric protest era Bob Dylan to planning law? Well, with a reasonable degree of backwards engineering, it was actually possible. So let's start with our fresh-faced Bob Dylan. Optimistic and armed with his guitar, inspired no doubt by the message on Woody Guthrie's guitar, "This machine kills fascists." But even without preamps, Dylan needed a backing band. So he approached this group, who were called The Band. Although actually at this time they were called the Hawks because they were playing with Ronnie Hawkins. Now the key person for the purposes of this story is this chap here, Levon Helm, second in from the left. He's of course the drummer in the band. Often billed as one of the greatest singer-drummers of all time. But you don't have to just take my word for it. Let's see him in action.
Call ourselves The Band.
There we go. Now, if you're interested, that clip was taken from a film called The Last Waltz. It's the last gig performed by the band. Now, if you've ever watched This Is Spinal Tap, well, that film is a mockumentary of The Last Waltz, which is a rockumentary. Anyway, enough on that. Everything was going well in the world of Levon Helm, the band, and Dylan. Until this happened. Dylan, always the king of self-reinvention, dropped the folk movement of Greenwich Village and adopted a speed-crazed, electrified sound. And as a lot of you will know, that didn't go down too well with the die-hard forever folksters. It culminated in an infamous 1966 gig at the Free Trade Hall in Manchester, where Dylan was called Judas just at the start of his electric set. If you're not familiar with it, let's have a look.
I don't believe you. You're a liar.
There we go, just about to belt into like a rolling stone. Now the tension between Dylan's old fan base and his new rock image had been growing for some time. Levon Helm had long since got fed up of being booed on stage, so he had actually quit and he'd gone to work on an oil rig. So without a drummer, Dylan approached a chap called Mickey Jones. And it was actually Mickey Jones who accompanied Dylan on his first electric troll. And here he is. You can see him there in the background. Now, sadly for Mickey, his time with Dylan was short-lived, because Dylan had managed to smash his motorcycle, and along with that, he smashed his vertebrae, and that took him out of action for a little while. So Mickey found himself without a band, but that's no problem for Mickey, because Mickey, who we can see here, was a very versatile performer. Here he is in various different roles, from National Lampoons to his latest, before he died, Home Improvement, there in the middle. Now, I know what you're thinking. Here's the hook. He's finally going to start talking about some planning. Home Improvement must mean he's going to talk about two-story extensions. Well, I'm afraid we've got a few more steps before we get to planning. In 1972, Mickey found a new home as a drummer with Kenny Rogers and the First Edition. Here he is down here. Now, this band might not have had as many hits as Dylan. In fact, probably the most popular song is one that was made famous by the Big Lebowski. And if you're not familiar with it, let's have a look.
What condition my condition was in? I woke up this morning with the sun shining in. Found my mind in a round paper bag then. Tripped on a cloud and fell 8 miles high. My mind on a jagged sky, dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. Yeah, oh yeah, what condition my condition was in.
Now, unbeknown to Kenny Rogers, there's actually some very wise words in there for business owners and local authorities. In June 2020, the new used classes order came in, and this was brought in as a response to the coronavirus and also to help high streets reinvent themselves. And it did this by taking up several used classes, such as restaurants, cafes, shops, and putting them all in one class, Class E. Now, this effectively means, under Section 55 of the Town and Country Planning Act, to move between anything within the same class is not a development, and therefore planning permission isn't required. Now, a good example of this in 2020 was an appeal decision called the Little Drummer Boy. Now, the key element in this is that the inspector made it very clear at paragraph 16 that even if that appeal hadn't succeeded on its normal grounds, the used classes order of 2020 was an extremely strong fallback position. The problem is that some conditions purport to oust the normal operation of the used classes order. And this is a concern for many businesses. What they should really do is take Kenny Rogers' advice and check out what condition their condition is in by looking at a central case called Dunnett Investments. In this case, at paragraph 37, there was some clear guidance given as to what condition needed to do in order to oust the normal operation of permitted development. It was clear in that decision that the condition had to be absolutely unequivocal in order to stop the normal operation of permitted development and effectively undo the intentions of Parliament. So if you're a business owner or an LPA has to consider this, take Kenny Rogers' advice, check out what condition the condition is in before you make a decision. Hope everybody has an extremely happy Christmas. And I know some of you will be feeling a little bit shortchanged already because I promised you 12 drummers and I've only actually delivered you 3 references to drumming. So, to compensate, I'll leave you with this tip. Don't play this video backwards. If you do, you will end up building a 2-story extension.